How are you guys doing? Welcome back to another video. Today we're covering Metavpad. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to jump right into this, what the Launchpad is, how to use it, if you should use it, or if it's just one big waste of time. We're going to find out in this complete 2022 overview of the project. So if you're excited, sit tight, relax. I hope you enjoy this video. Alright everybody, thank you so much for joining me again today. We're going to jump right into it. Before we do, however, please make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. We are on our way to 700 subs. So if you would mind quickly dropping that subscribe, it really is appreciated. Also note down, I am not a financial advisor. And with that being said, let's get into this. So Metavpad. The Metavpad Launchpad is yet another product of Bluezilla. Bluezilla, obviously one of the biggest launchpad creators in the crypto space. They have made many launchpads. They are notorious for having very well vetted projects that give good returns. Not everybody is as keen on them, however, their launchpads do have their fair share of issues, but Metavpad is the latest Bluezilla pad that mostly focuses, or entirely focuses on decentralized crypto projects in the metaverse. Now, what does that mean? We're going to get into that in a bit when we look at the projects, when you can see what type of projects there are. But if you are into Bluezilla, if you like launchpads and metaverse is something for you, then this is definitely an interesting video. So we're going to get started scrolling through the website, seeing everything that there is to see, including the tokenomics and the tiers. After that, we're going to do our research. There's no white paper, so we're going to do our research the good old-fashioned way to really dig into this launchpad and find out if it's actually worth it or not. So as we can see over here on the home page, the token is purchasable on Uniswap or Wagyuswap. You can open the app through here. We're not going to do that right now. We're going to quickly scroll through how they sell themselves to the public, which is actually more important than you might know. What if you could predict the next .com boom? Or be one of the lucky few to participate in the first wave of projects that will seed the fertile landscape that is the metaverse. Right, so obviously if you're watching this video, you believe in the metaverse, you believe that it is the new Google, that it will likely blow up and that you want to be an early investor. Now, what Metavpad says is, look, we have the same vision, we feel the same about this. So how about we work together? I'm going to launch these early projects in the metaverse and you get to be there early and invest in them. So, it's a clear goal. It's understandable and, they know what their audience is. And that's always been something that Bluezilla is very good at. Now, creating interconnected economies. As an interconnected hub of platforms, protocols, tools, and services, the metaverse can be thought of as a digital landscape of offerings. All right, I'm not going to go too deep into this. This is all a bit fluffy, right? They just talk about what the metaverse is, why they think it's going to be big, building blocks of the future. Also a bit of fluff. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Key tenets of the metaverse. Decentralized governance. So that means that the launchpad is going to be governed by the community in a decentralized fashion, probably meaning that investors will get a vote token. That's usually how that goes. They say, as an interconnected ecosystem of both community contributed and business developed services, decentralized governance will be needed to ensure the metaverse develops along the lines the users prefer. Non-fungible assets, digital identity, interoperability solutions, virtual/augmented reality. Oh, these are the key tenets of the metaverse, not Metavpad. Okay, right. So they really go in depth on talking about the metaverse. We know what the metaverse is. We care about the launchpad. So they finally get into it here. It's a bit late. You could have started with that earlier. I know what the metaverse is. So here they say distribution sell fees. Now this is actually interesting. 7.5% of the fees will be rewarded to the stakers and 2.5% will be burned forever. So that is a deflationary mechanism that will basically artificially keep the price high by burning some of the tokens. Then here we have the early unstaking fees. As always, there's up to 25% burn fee to unstake if users wait 8 weeks to unstake. There will be no fee. 7 days cool-off period to withdraw your unstaked tokens will apply for all unstaked requests. Now this is all pretty much the same for every Bluezilla pad. They really just follow the same like linear line. So this is, if you've used BSC pad, you know this already, right? Now here we see Metavpad, the first deflationary launchpad for Metaverse. Ultra low initial market cap. That is also something that Bluezilla is famous for, only 170k. Now why is this a USP, right? It is because the lower the market cap, the more growing potential there is for the project. Very low market cap means you're very early. If the price is this low, then it can only go up from there. So that is something Bluezilla always does. It has worked out thus far in the past. How to participate, we're going to get into that in a bit. I can already tell you that KYC will be required. We'll get into that later. IDO enter token information, and yeah, we'll find that over here. So cool. Public sale was at 001. So it is now 5x'd from the public sale price. That is a very good sign. Maximum supply is at 500 million, or is that 5 billion? Let's just call it 5 billion. Supply at listings 170 million, initial market cap 170k. And then here we have the tokenomics. So before you say, okay, hey, why do we start with the tokenomics and not with the tiers? Well, that is just because this is how they put it on the website, right? The tiers are over here. We'll get into that literally after this. Use the timestamps if you want to navigate, but we're just going to follow the website's flow for now. So the tokenomics does not have a graphic, which is unfortunate. I would have loved to see a little graphic. You know how I am. But okay, no graphic, that's fine. Let's look at the numbers here. So we're seeing a 15% for the team, that is average. 7% for advisors is a little bit above. Average is quite a lot, especially because the team and the advisors are not doxed. Now, of course, they're somewhat doxed in the sense that we know that they're from Bluezilla, but we don't know the people who are actually behind this. So we don't know if they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 advisors. All we know is that they get 7% of the tokens. We don't know if there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 10 people behind Metavpad. All we know is that they get 15% of the tokens, right? So my point being, without a doxed team, it is less easy to explain to your investors why you take a 15% cut. Who does it go to, why, and where does it end up? Liquidity 11%, that should be very much sufficient. It's actually quite a lot. Ecosystem will get 12%, reserve will get 4%, staking 10%, seed sale 8%, the private sale will get 16%, public sale 16% as well, and the airdrop in true Bluezilla fashion will also get 1%. Okay, good to see. Now moving forward to the tiered system. Before we do, however, I want to quickly point out that there's no vesting schedule here that has been delivered with the tokenomics. Also, again, there's no graph. This kind of aligns with my first red flag that there is no white paper to begin with and no docs team. So we're not having a docs team. We don't have a white paper. We don't have a vesting schedule as of right now. And we are missing quite some graphs. There's also no roadmap on the website. So this is definitely one of the biggest downsides of Bluezilla, because they're Bluezilla, people just tend to trust them. So they just kind of lackluster around the information, right? Is this going to be a big problem? No, but we do pile it up. If we see more red flags along the way, then that is going to have a big impact on my final thoughts at the end of the video. Now, moving over to the tiered system, how does it work, how to get into it, how to get started? It's actually very simple. So we're going to jump right into this. And after that, I have a quick segment on how to buy the token and get started. So if that's what you're interested in, stay tuned. Otherwise, use the timestamps below as we dive deeper into the project to find out if this is worth your time, if Metavpad is a good launchpad, yes or no. So let's get into it. All right, so we see here that there are 3 tiers. Now, usually if we see a 3-tiered system, then that means that it is a smaller launchpad. Why is that? The more tiers, the more investors, because you have more variety, right? If you have 100,000 investors, you'll have easily 10 different forms of investors. Smaller launchpads, they usually tend to have a less big variety. So 3 tiers, they usually just put it, keep it simple. We can definitely tell that Metavpad isn't yet as big as other Bluezilla launchpads are. And partially we can see that because of the 3-tiered system. They have an explorer, creator, and an architect ranging from between 30,000 staked to 180,000 staked. Now, before calculating how much this is, most important is that all of the three will have a guaranteed allocation, meaning that if you do stake these 30,000 minimum, you will 100% sure be able to participate in the projects. Now that is a USP in and of itself, as there's a lot of launchpads that use lottery tiered systems. So this is good. The pool weight, however, will only be 10 compared to the architect that will get 66. So your allocation will be small, but it will be guaranteed. Now, the negative here is that whitelist requirements will require you to Twitter, like, comment, and retweet. Now, the only tier that does not require this is architect, which is the most expensive one. Now, obviously, it's not that much effort to just go over to Twitter or go over to Telegram and perform some tasks, but it is very obnoxious to pay a lot of money to get into a launchpad and then to also have to basically do all of these other tasks. And it just feels like you're doing a free tier, right? A tier 0 type of thing. And you're not. You actually paid money for this, and now you have to do these social tasks. So I'm not a big fan of those, obviously. At least the architect doesn't have to do them. Now, again, you have to Twitter, like, comment, and retweet. So it's not that much, but we do have to keep that in mind when we look at the Twitter in a bit, that probably most of the comments are not people that are actually like super bullish on them or just engaged, but they had to do it just to participate in the tier. Think about it, most people are not going to be in the architect tier, but in the lower tiers. So if we grab the calculator, we can see that if we were to put 30,000 times the current price of the token, which at the moment is 0.05. So that would be 0.05. And then we can see that the first tier is already 150 US dollars. Now, respectively, that is quite a lot considering we're in a bear market and the prices are supposed to be a lot lower. Also considering the fact that the token has basically reached an all-time low, yet still we are seeing 30,000 times 0.05 equals 150. So let's look at the first tier that does not require whitelist requirements, which is architects. Putting in 180,000, that's 18,180, and we're doing that again times 0.05. And then we find not just, let's see there. Yeah, that was right. That was correct. The 0.05. Okay, good. So we see here $900 for the biggest tier. So it's funny to see the first tier is actually relatively expensive, and then the biggest tier is actually relatively cheap. I do wonder, did I do my calculations correctly? Let me know in the comments. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 99% sure here, but you know, you can always miss a zero or whatever, right? So yeah, overall, it looks good, right? I do personally have a big criticism to those whitelist requirements from an investor point of view. That is not what you want to be doing after you already invested. So anyways, that is that. We're gonna move on now to the next part of the video. If you want to pause it, feel free to do so and do your own research to the tier system as well. So now we're moving on to the website. We're seeing here more Bluezilla. And basically, this is just a normal story that they put into all of their launchpads, right? We're Bluezilla, we're big, yada yada. And then, of course, they also have an incubator program. Okay, enough about that. Let's get started with how to get into the Metavpad launchpad, how to get started, how to get your tokens, how to stake, and the KYC. If you're not interested, use the timestamps. We're going to take a look at the token after this. All right, so there are 3 simple steps that you need to follow. Decide a tier and buy your Metav tokens. To do this, visit the Metavpad website and use the official links to Uniswap or PancakeSwap or Wagyuswap. So you can use either of these 3 exchanges. Make sure to use the links on the official Metavpad launchpad so you are 100% sure that you are on the correct website and you're not getting phished. Once you've done that, you know, from Uniswap on, it's very simple. You just click the type of currency or crypto that you have right now and select the Metavpad token to swap the tokens for what you need. Once you've got your minimum of 30,000 tokens, you're going to have to stake them. You have to do this at least 3 hours before the IDO starts. To do this, visit the Metavpad staking platform. Now you can do that, of course you can click on this link, or you can navigate through there once you're on the app of Metavpad, which you can find on the Metavpad website. From here, you can go to staking and you can put in your amount that you would like to stake. Obviously, I cannot do that right now because I don't have my wallet connected. Right. So after you've done that, you've staked everything, there's one more step that you need to complete, and that is to pass the one-time KYC process. KYC verified users see a green KYC button on their Metavpad website and will have received an approval email from the KYC partner, KYC Aid. Please note, users must KYC at least 24 hours before the IDO and stake a minimum of 30,000 Metav tokens. So those are the 3 steps that you're going to have to follow in order to participate in the Metavpad Launchpad launches. Now that we're clear on all that, let's go ahead and move over to the token, and then we're going to move over to the projects. Both are very important aspects of this review. So starting with the token, we can see that nearly 38,000 people have it on their watch list. It's ranking a little bit above 4,000 and the current price is at 0.05. Now again, the TGE price was at 0.01, so it is still a 5x from the TGE. Now the TGE actually went all the way up to 4 cents, 42, sorry. So there was a massive boom at TGE. So that's very good. From after that though, however, the price really went down. Of course, that is partially also because of the bear market, right? That's what it does. The bear market lowers the token prices because there is a lower token utility. There is less projects out there. People are less bullish overall. Now, as far as the holders of the tokens go, the holders, you can see 1,500 people are holding the token right now. That is very little. 17,000 people are transferring the token, or 17,000 transfers are being done, which is also very low. Now, that is not necessarily a bad thing, right? Whether there's a lot of holders or not. What is important is the distribution of the holders compared to the token. So who's holding the tokens? Well, as we can see, if we move over to the first page, most tokens are held by a contract. 97.6%. That is virtually all of the tokens. Now, these other two are also contracts, so easily 98.5% are held by contracts. After that, we arrive at the actual investors. Now we see a handful of big ones. This is 11,000, this is 9,000, 3,000, 2,000, and after that, we basically have a drop off. Here, there's only people holding around 900, 700, by the bottom of this list, we are already down to 200. The entire rest of this list, so all the other hundreds of people, are holding very tiny amounts. What does this mean? That means despite the liquidity that Bluezilla is providing to the token, there are some people, a handful of people that are holding a lot of power over this token. I mean, look at these spikes. If one of these big wallets was to decide one day, hey, I'm going to sell all of my tokens, it would have a massive impact on the price, and if you have tokens, that impact on the price can be very bad. Now, what we would have loved to see is a big distribution of, everybody preferably holding the same amount, everybody holding $500, right? That is the overall preferred way. Now, obviously, that is not going to happen ever, but this is a very particularly bad composition because we really just have those 3 or 4 people with big coins and the rest very small. So the small wallets are not going to have any impact whatsoever. The big wallets are going to determine most of the price. Meanwhile, most of the tokens are stuck in a contract. So that is not looking too good. As for the transfers, it's happening not that often. Now again, that's completely fine if people aren't transferring the tokens a lot, but it shows that the overall activity over on Metavpad and the token are not that high. Good to take into account. All right, so with that out of the way, let's start moving towards the projects. Now the projects are of course the most important part of any launchpad. So we've discussed the tiers, we've discussed the token. Now, what are we seeing here on the projects? What can we actually invest in? Now, I do my reviews on 4 metrics and I suggest you do the same. Or if you have another metric, let me know. So from the 4 metrics, these are the 4 ways I judge a project. The first one is, how many projects are there, right? Are we seeing active projects right now? Are there projects being launched, or are there no projects being launched? The second one is, how good are the projects? Go over to the website of the projects, read their white paper, read a review video, read a book about it, whatever you have to do. Find out if the quality of the project is high, right? So quantity of the amount of projects, quality of the projects. Then the other one is gut feeling. How does it feel? Yes, I know how that sounds. I know you think I'm an idiot. What is the feeling that you get with it, right? It is actually very important. Trust your gut feeling on this. If it looks good, but it feels bad, you just read little things in the white paper, little things in the vesting schedule, you don't trust it, you don't feel good with it, then it's probably not good, all right? And then the last metric, I'm not going to tell you guys. No, just kidding. The last metric is, how did the past projects perform? Did other investors make profit, or did they not? That is very important, of course, as the past is the best indication of the future. Okay, so if we are going to judge Metavpad by these 4 metrics, my first complaint would be that we don't have any current projects, and we only have 1 upcoming project with an announced date that is still to be announced. So we don't know when this project is going to be launching. I actually know this project. I've done a review on it. This is Souls of Meta, and I can assure you that it's not going to be launching this month, likely. So this is still going to take a while. We don't know when it's going to come out. There's no current projects open. There's no other projects coming soon. So for the quantity, I would have to say that they are not passing, right? There's not enough. It's not like Metavpad has a lot of other utility, right? They don't have mining, trading. They don't have an NFT marketplace, nothing, right? So the only utility to the Metavpad token is to be able to participate. If you cannot participate, then there is no utility. So they're lacking projects. Now, as for the projects, Souls of Meta, I am not a big fan of it. It is certainly not a bad project. I think it is very ambitious, it is very popular, and it looks really good, but it just doesn't do it for me personally. Now, why is that? Well, their white paper, for starters, is not really good. It just isn't really directed at investors. So they have a game, right? And they have a white paper for investors, and their entire white paper is all about the gameplay, how to play, how to get weapons and all that. And that was just one of the biggest turnoffs for me of this particular project, right? They were making this white paper for the wrong people, right? The gamers are not going to be reading your white paper. So endless pages of weapons that are be found in game and dungeons that you're going to be able to discover, but we don't care about those dungeons, man. We don't care about that. So they aimed their white paper at the wrong people, which made us wonder, right, at the Digits Club, where we reviewed it many times, where else did they make mistakes? Now, there's other things that are just off with this project. Now, that is why I personally am not going to invest in it, but there are plenty of people who do like it. As you can see, however, look at this. Most of these launchpads here are Bluezilla. We have BSCpad, we have Metavpad. I don't think NFT launches Bluezilla, but it might be. But prove me wrong on that. So there's a lot of Bluezilla in there. Souls of Meta, I'm not a massive fan of that personally. Now, as for their closed projects, they look a little bit better. We see here Verve, Metafluence, Outer Ring. We have MetaMate, MetaFame, and Moves. Moves, I believe, is another move to earn. And Fight of the Ages, I believe that one did pretty well, actually, yeah. But before we look at the actual projects, let's look at the process bar. So progress here, 100% filled up, 100, 100, 100. Let's see here, 100, 100, 100. So every single project thus far has been 100% filled up by the community of the Metavpad Launchpad. What does that mean? It means that the investors are trusting Metavpad. They are investing, they are using the tokens that they have, and they are making use of their allocation. That is a very good, interesting point to really look at, and of course, it's a very positive thing for not Bluezilla. Well, yes, for Bluezilla, but also mostly for the Metavpad. Now, if you click on one of the projects, you get a very comprehensive overview. You get the social media, you get the progress, connect your wallet, pool information, token information, and the schedule. You'll even see your allocation once you have connected your wallet. So it's very easy to just look up any project that you are interested in. If you move over to the coming soon projects, you will have the same overview overall. You will have here the cap, you have the swap rate, assets, progress, of course it's not full yet, and then here you have the socials. So right now all we can really look at is Souls of Meta, and I'm not incredibly bullish on that, but it's not a bad project per se. Then as for these ones, again, I know a couple of them, mostly moves, and I will quickly show you the token of moves, how it behaved, what it did. You can see over here that the token is down a little bit. If we look at the all-time, we can see that it had a very interesting TGE. I can tell you a lot of people made good money here with this. After that it dropped, and then it had another peak, and after that another and another. So the token has a very interesting path. And depending on what the vesting schedule was, I'm sure a lot of people made good profits with this. The overall sentiment is very bearish, although we do have a couple of bullish comments. But then again, it doesn't really matter if you participate in a launchpad. If the project is going to do good for a very long time, you just want to have that good TGE and that good first couple months of vesting to get your profits. And looking at this graph, it looks like most people got their good TGE, they got their good vesting, and by the time that their vesting stopped, at that time you saw the token going down. So overall, not too bad of a project per se. Now for the rest though, I don't really know much of these projects apart from Fight of the Ages, which is a good project by the way. So there's definitely the fair share of just lower tier, lower quality projects out there. So always do your own due diligence when you are looking at the projects to see what projects of Metavpad you want to invest in. Overall though, however, good quality projects overall. Again, I'm not super bullish on the upcoming projects, but it is all right. So for quality wise, they pass. For how do they feel? They feel okay. Do they have enough projects? No, they don't. So yeah, and how did the former projects perform? Good enough. So overall, we are giving it a solid 6 in terms of projects, which is not high. It's not high at all. And there's definitely better launchpads out there if you want really good quality projects, but it is at least a 6, and that could always improve. It is quite a new launchpad in the end. Now, moving over to is this coin a scam? We see that there are lots of missing data points. They don't have a GitHub, Reddit, project team, Bitcoin thread, Bitcoin talk thread, or a project white paper. Now, of course, the most important ones missing are also the roadmap, which we cannot see. But yeah, overall, missing team, missing white paper, very big, very unfortunate. And those are really things that are just important for a review, which we cannot review because they don't have it. So that is a firm negative. They have 69% profile completion, which is actually quite okay, despite missing a little white paper. So yeah, and for the rest, they don't have any ratings. If we then move over to the Twitter, we can see that they have 158,000 followers, which is quite big. But again, keep in mind, it is literally required for most tiers to follow them on Twitter and like their Twitter, etc. So it is all but understandable that they have a big Twitter at this point. Their pinned tweet is from February 13th, just all of their links. For the rest, like any Bluezilla pad, most of what they're doing is retweeting. Here they're retweeting Souls of Meta, their upcoming IDO. BC pad, right, they're also retweeting just overall tweets from other launch pads of Bluezilla. They're retweeting Bluezilla tweets. When are they tweeting themselves? The 16th of August was their last personal tweet, so they're definitely an active launchpad. Now, when reviewing a launchpad, apart from the projects, the tokenomics, etc., the most important thing apart from that is the team actually still active, right? Are they still posting on social media? Are they still launching projects? And definitely Metavpad is still kicking it, and they're still launching their projects. So that is interesting and very positive to see. Now, they're also active on Medium. Not very active though. As you can see, this was the 14th of April, the 10th of April, the 1st of March. So they haven't been posting a lot lately. However, they do have articles. They have articles mostly on their IDOs, so Metafame and all that. But they do also have a variety of tutorial medium articles surrounding, how to do the KYC, how to do the staking. They have a blog about their tiered system and more. So overall, a good medium, but again, they are not very active in true blue fashion, Bluezilla style. They do have nearly 5,000 followers. So overall, mediocre medium. If they start posting more, it would be good. I did read the blogs. They are quite quality. In quality, they're good. So at least that's that. So that is roughly Metavpad in a nutshell. So a comprehensive review of the entire project as it stands right now in 2022. My final thoughts on the project. Again, I am not incredibly bullish on the upcoming projects, but it is Bluezilla, so I have no doubt that they are going to continue tinkering and working on the Launchpad. Overall, I think that Metavpad has potential, right? The Bluezilla team is strong in terms of marketing. I'm not sure if Souls of Meta is going to perform very well, but with the market easing up and slowly getting out of this bear market, I for one am pretty sure that we can see Metavpad gaining traction again and moving up together with other Bluezilla launchpads. Now, I could be wrong on this. Metavpad has plenty of red flags, such as not having a docs team, not having a white paper, not having a roadmap, and not having any current projects. So I might be wrong on this one, but I feel like they have enough things going for them to really make a surge in price when the market conditions are right. Would I invest in Souls of Meta? Personally not, but I do have a complete review on it, so if you are interested in it, please make sure to check it out. Maybe you have a different opinion on it. So, thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys in the next one. Alright, ciao ciao.